Ava, are you planning on coming to my wedding? With a face like that?
Just like always, you're coming back to be rude to me even more. I do plan on going to your wedding. And congratulations on getting proposed to. You are family to me now, so it's pretty obvious that I'd be going to see your wedding. And I was the one that showed you the location of where you're planning to hold your wedding, right?
And so what? And the only reason you showed me the wedding hall to have a wedding is because you do a business with that place. So stop trying to act all cool about doing that when it was nothing more than you helping them make more money.
I'm not trying to get some sort of praise from you or anything. I was just stating that I know where the wedding will occur. And another thing, at the moment I'm the one that's paying for your wedding until you have the money to pay me back, right? So just with that alone, I'd love it if you could thank me or something.
And I told you I will pay you back, so don't worry. Others will be giving me money as gifts for my wedding, so just wait until I get all of that. And for the savings I have right now, they need to be used for other purposes, so I can't repay you with that.
And have you told Drew about that yet? Drew told me that your husband would be the one to pay for things like that, but that's all a lie, right?
I'm not lying about anything. I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't worried about anything regarding me. That's just what I want Drew thinking for a little while, so don't do anything unnecessary that could make him think otherwise.
Anything unnecessary? Him and I are married now, Evelyn. I understand that this whole event is for our family and we wouldn't want to make any issues, but I'm still not fully sure whether you're up to something else behind all of our backs right now.
Well, Ava, you're a pretty ugly woman.
Wait, what?
Do you think that it's okay for someone who's ugly to come to my wedding? I want to make sure that my whole wedding is 100% perfect for all my guests. And if someone with the looks of you came into it, then the whole event would be ruined.
How much longer are you going to keep making such rude comments about my face being less than ideal for you? I guess I can expect that sort of stuff to continue from you, though. Do you tell Drew about all the things you say to me? Have you told him that you're not inviting his wife to the wedding because she's ugly?
If I said that to him, I'd be hurting his feelings, so I'll never tell him that. Of course, telling him the truth would be a lot easier.
You should never say something like that, though. If you're worried about hurting someone's feelings with the things you say, then why do you keep making rude comments about me? Up to now, you have hurt my feelings plenty of times.
Well, because you've helped out with my wedding and planning it out, I'm thankful. But because of your less than beautiful looks, I want you to stay away from it.
You are being awful right now, Evelyn. You can stop trying to tell me to stay away, all right? Go and tell your brother all these sorts of things and see what he says.
I tried warning you plenty of times not to come, Ava, but you never heeded any of them. And you probably just thought that I was bluffing. If this has helped you understand that you're an ugly and depressing woman, then get up and go home.
I've had enough. You are worse than I thought. You pushed me into that fountain at the wedding reception all because you hate the looks of your brother's wife for no good reason. That right there has pushed me to my limits with you.
And I told you that all ugly people were to stay out of my wedding. Hurry up and go away. You're dripping wet now, and I don't want you causing any slip hazards for my invited guests.
I can see that you think you're all that because it's your wedding day and you want me to be gone. But do you understand just how regretful you're going to be because of all that you've done to me?
Regretful? I'll never regret a thing about today. All I did just then was help get rid of an ugly duckling. Everyone knows that I was in the right for doing that.
Well, if you're so confident in that, then that's great for you. I can see now that no matter what I try and say to you, you're never going to actually think about it. I'm giving up on you now, you old, hopeless hag!
Excuse me? Why are you being so rude to me now?
Because after all this time, I'd been so considerate of you and you've been rude to me. You are my brother's older sister after all, and I tried my best to just ignore all the hateful things that have come out of your mouth. But I seriously cannot handle you anymore.
Well, I've been trying my best with you.
How?
I've actually never really thought of you as part of my family, even after marrying my brother. And because you came into my wedding today without considering the consequences, I had to push you into the fountain. There's no way that someone dripping wet would be allowed to stay here, so hurry up and go.
Then I will go.
See ya! Never, you gross loser!
Going as far as you have has really shown me your true colors. But since you still can't seem to realize the consequences of all this, then I'm just going to shut up and leave. But don't you ever forget that this wedding hall was all put together with the help of the company I work for.
Huh? And what does that have to do with anything?
You'll know soon enough.
Hey Ava, can you reply to me please? Right now they're saying that this whole wedding is being cancelled and have started to clean up.
Well, that would happen. I told them to cancel it before I left.
Huh? What the heck are you talking about, Ava? If you let them keep doing this, then my whole wedding is going to be over.
And that's just too bad, right? But if you think about what you've done to me, it's only natural. You cared way too much about your little brother's feelings, and to make sure that your wedding that you haven't even paid for yet was perfect, you pushed me, the one paying for it, into that fountain. None of what you'd been doing was okay.
Hold on a second. There's no way you can just cancel my wedding while it's still going on, right? Right now my husband is pissed.
Is that so? I'm sure he would be when he has no clue as to why this is all happening yet. But I have nothing to do with the aftermath of all this. So don't bother me with it.
You can't just run away from this.
Well, I am a stranger to you, right? You told me that you don't regard me as family. And for a while now, I had been worried a lot about Drew. But I can no longer think of you as being family to me.
Come back here.
What?
Please, come back here so that we can all avoid being embarrassed. So please come back. If we can't get this wedding back on the road, then I'll be in hot water. Hurry up and get back here. Explain all of this to my husband for me.
I'm going to just ignore that very selfish request of yours, okay?
Huh? Why?
Also, as for the money you had asked me to give you to pay for that wedding, I'd like all $50,000 of it back very soon from you.
What? Huh?
That's what it cost for your wedding and all that came with it. And you asked me to pay for it at first, and that you'd repay the $50,000 to me after the wedding. So give it all back to me right now. I want it. And now that your wedding has been canceled, you have to pay the cancellation fees as well. I'm not going to be the one to pay those fees, but I still want my money back now. And I will not let you run away from me.
There's no way I can give you all of that money right now. Are you being serious with me?
Why wouldn't I be, you filthy grandma?
Huh?
You had no right calling me ugly and pushing me into that fountain when you had to borrow money from me to have the whole wedding. I've really been thinking about what could have been wrong with your head. But anyway, I want that money now.
But I don't have that kind of money on me right now. And also having my wedding cancelled on me is not okay. I had finally made it into my wedding day, and now it's all being ruined.
You must have forgot all the strings I had to pull to allow your wedding to be held here. I mean, if you knew that and still pushed me into the fountain, then you must seriously need some mental help.
I knew about all of that. Why would I have ever forgotten about something like that? But I thought that that would have had nothing to do with me. I can thank you for getting me this beautiful place to have my wedding and all, but I never thought you could easily cancel the wedding on me as well. I just never thought that you'd actually do something so horrible to me.
Well, it had to happen after you decided to get me drenched while in my dress. I'd stop trying to make excuses for all of that now, okay? You should know by now that this is all due to you, right?
I'm tired of texting you about this, so just come back here, please. If you want me to apologize for what happened, I'll apologize. Really, what do you want to happen after all of this?
Huh? What do I want to happen?
I'm just asking that you come back here and make things right for me so that we can continue the wedding, right? So you can stop acting like a crybaby and come back here. I'll apologize if that's what you're wanting.
You are actually brain dead, you hag.
Huh? Brain dead? Don't you think you're going too far?
Even though you're the one that's been taking it too far for a while now? Calling me ugly and a loser all the time has driven me up the wall. If you have the time to be calling me names all day long, then maybe you had the time to rethink what you were doing and make a change for the better. Your wedding is canceled, you pile of garbage.
You don't have to tell me things like that, right? What are you trying to say that I did? What's wrong with me calling you ugly all the time?
Well, then never ask me for money again. And don't bother with me handling your wedding for you anymore. I don't want to be around people that think it's okay to call others ugly. All you've done is made me feel as though I've wasted a lot of my time and money now. And I don't want that kind of relation with you anymore. So give me back my money and let your wedding be canceled.
Are you really that upset with me?
Oh, come on now! You forget that you pushed me into a fountain full of cold water? It'd be scary if you did manage to forget that so easily. Not only that, but you also have been calling me ugly forever now, and you made that your reason for kicking me out of the wedding. But seriously, you pushing me into that fountain because of my looks was the last straw for me. I'm not going to ever forgive you for that, and things between you and I are over. I am not coming back to your demolished wedding. I've already told everyone there that the wedding is canceled, and they gotten to work on taking it all down. And I plan to tell my husband everything about what happened between you and I.
Wait. What do you mean you plan to tell him everything? What the heck do you plan on telling him?
I'll tell him about how you pushed me into the water and then kicked me out of your wedding. And of course about all the other things you've said to me. I didn't want to tell him about us before either because, like you, I didn't want him worrying about us. You also told me to never tell him anything, and had you just let me be at your wedding, I never would have planned on telling him. But now things have changed, and I've had enough! After this, I'm cutting ties with you! Isn't that just fantastic for you?
That's not fantastic at all. And about my brother, he wouldn't stop talking about you any time he was around me. It was disgusting, and he was supposed to be my precious little brother, but you stole him from me.
But there is a limit to how far you can take that hate you had stored up for me.
I know that. I can see now that what I did was not right. You could say that I was just getting frustrated is all. I was hoping that at some point you'd leave my brother because of me.
We are married now, but all you could think of was having us divorce? I'm sorry, but him and I have never thought about divorce. But now that you've said that about us, I'm going to leave you for good. Is that okay with you?
But if you leave me now, then what will happen to my wedding?
Well, it'll stay canceled, won't it? You'll have to start from step one again and look for a new place to have your wedding at. But if you give me all my money back, I might rethink things.
That's screwed up, Ava. You and I are family, right? Don't you think you can cut that sort of crap with me since we're pretty much sisters? You're supposed to love and help your family, right?
I'm starting to feel that you have some sort of short-term memory loss that's at the bottom of all this. I'm sorry, but I cannot be asked with you anymore. I just don't get what is going on in that head of yours, and I don't want to anymore. So go right ahead and say whatever you'd like about me. I've told your husband now that your wedding is permanently canceled. And this might be the end of your marriage to him now as well.
Don't say those terrible things. Don't just throw me away. If my wedding really does end up being canceled today, I'll be causing a lot of problems for my parents, right? Are you happy letting those problems affect my parents?
I'm not happy about it, but I've already explained what happened to them as well.
Huh?
There were some people that watched you push me into the fountain. And your parents have already apologized to me for that. And after talking with Drew, he agrees that the both of us should cut ties with you for good.
You told Drew already? How much further are you planning to take all of this?
I'm not taking this any farther than you already have. You're the one that started all of this, and you're the one that brought it all to this point. This is great, right? You'll never have to see your ugly sister-in-law again. I'm glad about this myself. I'm finally able to say goodbye to one of the most heartless and gross women I've ever had the misfortune of calling family. Now, have a wonderful life with your husband. In the end, the wedding was officially canceled and taken apart. Evelyn's husband ended up being furious, and she was forced to apologize to both him and all of his family members that had traveled to see the wedding. And it seems that now, even their marriage is on the line. Drew was in shock over what his sister had done, and after talking with his parents about what to do about her, they all agreed to cut ties to her. Also, the money that Evelyn still had to repay Ava and the cost of the dress that she ruined by pushing her into the water were both to be paid in a settlement that Ava made. But Evelyn had been thrown out by everyone, and she tried her hardest to apologize to Ava. However, Ava ended up blocking her and told her lawyer to make sure that money was repaid before the end of the month. I'm sure that will be hard for Evelyn to deal with now, but perhaps it's time she takes a loan to repay Ava, and then changes her rotten character into something a bit more acceptable before trying to get back out there and working to pay off the loan.
Natalie, why would you do that to me? I was so excited to meet my first grandson. Why did you kick me out of your hospital room? You cannot be serious. What made you think I was going to let you in? I would never, ever let my precious son meet my stepmother of all people. This is a family occasion, and you are decidedly not family, so get out of here. Not family? How can you say that? I have been married to your father for 20 years. You weren't even in grade school when your father and I got married. You might not be my biological daughter, but I've always treated you as though you were my own flesh and blood. Even after all that, you still don't see me as family? No, I don't. I have never seen you as family, and I never will. I've never even thought of you as being my mom. Seriously, you're disgusting. Like, who do you think you are? You go around pretending you're my mom? Did you give birth to me? No, you did not. So knock it off. Oh, and just so you know, I'm not the only one who doesn't see you as family. What's that supposed to mean? My dad doesn't think you're our family either. When I had you removed from the hospital, he didn't do anything to stop me, did he? My God, you really don't even realize that you're not wanted around here. How pathetic. I was rather perturbed that your dad didn't stand up for me. I thought that maybe he was just too busy holding your baby to do anything about it. Yeah, well, now you know exactly where you stand around here. My dad's feelings for you are long gone. There is no one in this family who considers you a part of it. To me, you're no different than any random stranger I walk by on the street. Why should I let some random stranger hold my baby? Get real. And what about your husband, John? Does he have anything to say about you treating me this way? You think I'm actually going to tell him about this? I don't need to. He knows I value my family, and that's all he needs to know. Anyway, don't you dare go around telling people you're my baby's grandmother, because you are not. Is this the thanks I get for supporting you all these years? Tell you what, I will thank you for one thing. The way you ran out of the room crying was absolutely hilarious. A good laugh was just what I needed after going through 4 hours of labor today. So thanks for that, Renee. Also, I think you might want to contact the people at the Guinness World Records. Tell them you've set the record for the ugliest cry in history. Now get out and stay out. If you come back to the hospital, I'm calling the police.
Hey there, Renee. So, tell me, how are my granddaughter and grandson doing now? Did you take any photos for me? I really wish I could have gone down there myself today, but there was a problem at the office that I had to attend to.
I'm really sorry, Dad, but I wasn't able to see the baby today.
Uh-oh. What happened? You said you were going to the hospital today, right? Was there some sort of health issue with Natalie?
No, that's not it. Both the mother and child are perfectly healthy. Natalie simply refused to allow me to see the baby.
What?
It's hard to believe, but she also says that Nate feels the same way.
My goodness. I thought it might be difficult for Natalie to accept you as her mother, given the circumstances. But for Nate to take her side against you, that's unbelievable.
As much as I wish it weren't true, it unfortunately is. Natalie screamed at me to get out, and Nate just stood there holding the baby where I couldn't see him. Thinking back, I can swear he turned his head to smirk at me as I ran out the door.
What has gotten into that man?
Honestly, I can't say that this is all that much of a shock for me. He has been uncharacteristically cold to me lately.
Have you talked to him about that?
No, I was always the one who was the most interested in pursuing a relationship and then marriage with Nate. I guess I was so grateful that he married me that, well, maybe I shouldn't complain too much about that sort of thing.
It doesn't matter who pursued who. All that matters is the two of you are man and wife. I was there on the day you two made your vows to each other. It is Nate's sacred duty to support you as his wife. Perhaps that fool had forgotten about all the support I've given him for his business over the years. Renee, dear, I really wish you would have come to me about this sooner.
I just didn't want to trouble you with my marital problems.
And it's precisely because of that reluctance to talk to Nate or myself that things have got as bad as they have. Wait, no, I'm sorry, Renee. I shouldn't have said that. It's not your fault that this is happening. I should have been more active in asking you about how you are doing.
No, Dad, please don't blame yourself. There were times when I considered talking to you. It's just that you were so happy for me when me and Nate got married, I didn't want to disappoint you.
There is precious little that you could do to disappoint me, Renee. Now, we have a lot to talk about, and it's better that we do it in person. Come over to our place. I'll have your mother put on a pot of tea for us.
Thanks, Dad. I'm sorry for getting you involved in this. It's not your problem.
When my daughter is involved, it most assuredly is my problem.
What gives, Renee? You talked to Grandpa, didn't you? Thanks to you, all our hard work was for nothing. Do you have any idea how painful it was for us to have to act like we didn't loathe you in front of him? You are seriously the worst. Yeah, I always thought it was strange how you acted around my dad. You never talked to me so sweetly while we were alone or at home. But now I know exactly why that was. You were trying to hide your true intentions from him. Yeah, obviously. Is that a surprise to you? He was the one who was paying the bill for the baby's birth. And it's not just that. He's given me tons of money over the years. What choice did I have? I had to do everything I could to make sure I stayed in his good graces. You know, you could have simply accepted me as a member of your family. That seems like a much easier path than acting for 20 years. How dense are you, anyway? I will not accept you as a member of my family because you are not a member of my family. We're not related by blood. The only thing tying you to me is some piece of paper with both of your names written on it. I told you, Natalie, I always thought of you as my daughter. You have no right to call yourself my mother. I am not your daughter, so stop calling me that. I mean, you were the one who pushed my dad into marrying you. You were crazy about him. I guess I can understand why he married you back then, because you were young and not too awful looking. But now what good are you to him? You're just old. And neither my dad nor I have any reason to pretend to be nice to you anymore. How about all the times I packed you lunch for school? When I picked you up from volleyball practice? What about all the times you were sick and I spent the entire night at your bedside comforting you? That is literally the bare minimum amount of work required of you. You want me to be grateful for that? It would be like being grateful for you breathing. You've served your purpose and now we're done with you. Never talk to me or my dad again. We have better things to do with our time than talk to some old woman who's not even our family. All right, Natalie. If that's what you want, so be it. You'll never hear from me again. Yes, finally. Hurry up and move out of my dad's house. I don't want my dad to have to put up with you for one more second. He's already put up with enough already. Fine, I'll start packing immediately. Oh, and by the way, Natalie, don't come crying when things start going very, very badly for you. What do I have to cry about? I'm getting rid of the cancer that's been eating away at my family for 20 years. Goodbye, Renee, and good riddance. We need to talk, Renee. Why has no one given me a gift yet? My baby was born a month ago now, and I've gotten absolutely nothing. You? I thought you didn't want to speak to me anymore. Why would you message me after all this time? That's not the point. Answer my question. Where are all my gifts? I had a baby. That means I get a bunch of presents. You know, baby clothes, cribs, diapers, lots and lots of money. But not one person has come. No one came by while I was in the hospital, and even after I went home, nobody has stopped by. No one's even texted me to say congratulations. I tried to call a few people to see when they were coming over, but they all hung up on me immediately. Wow, that's a shame. What's with that reaction? No way. You're behind this, aren't you? I can't believe that you would do this to me. This is your grandson we're talking about. How could you be so cruel to him? Oh, what's that? A month ago, you firmly demanded that I not go around telling people I was his grandmother. What happened to that, Natalie? Did you forget? You also said I wasn't your family, and if I'm not your family, then my family isn't your family either. You're the only one I said that to. I didn't say anything about Grandpa or anyone else. You lied to them about me. That is defamation. I could sue you. Get on the phone and call everyone you lied to right now. Tell them the truth. And when you're done doing that, go around to all their houses, collect their gifts for me, and bring them to my house. And why, pray tell, would I go out of my way to do that for you? If you want to correct the record, then you can call them all yourself. Were you not paying attention? I tried to call them, but they all hung up on me. They owe me gifts for my baby, and you are going to be the one to pick them up for me. Nobody owes you anything, Natalie, especially not family members that you've disowned. It's pretty presumptive of you to demand gifts from people. Aren't you embarrassed to be reduced to begging? It's not like I want to be in this position, but before the baby was born, all your relatives said they were going to give me nice gifts. Some even said they were going to give me a couple grand in cash. I thought I was going to get a bunch of free baby stuff and money, so I did a little bit of shopping for stuff for myself. But now a month has gone by and still no gifts. I am in big trouble because of you. No, you're in big trouble because you were counting your chickens before they hatched. You were counting on other people to give you money that you hadn't received yet and spent more than you could afford to. It's as simple as that. But I was spending my own money and it's basically all gone now. I have next to nothing left to buy clothes and stuff. At this rate, your grandson is going to have to walk around naked for the rest of his life. Is that what you want to have happen? That's a pretty gross exaggeration of the situation, I'd say. Besides, I'm not a part of your family, and I never was. That means I have absolutely no responsibility to lift a single finger to help you. Instead of me, why not have a talk with your husband about this? Seems like he'd be better equipped to respond to this problem than me. Because if I tell him, then he's going to find out what I did. Are you stupid or something? Whatever, I am done with you. I should have known better than to think I could rely on you. But I know for sure that Grandpa is going to take my side. He's going to be super mad at you when I tell him. Grandpa, please, you've got to help me. Renee is under a huge misunderstanding, and thanks to that, we're in big trouble. I'm going to have a lot of big bills coming up at the end of this month, and there is no way we're going to be able to pay it. And it's not just me that's in trouble. My dad is too. I hate to ask you for this since you've already done so much for us, but could you please give us some money to get through this month? Your great-grandson really needs your help right now.
A misunderstanding, you say? It seems like the situation is pretty straightforward to me. You and your father both told Renee that you don't consider her to be a part of your family, and that you never wanted to see her again. You did say that, didn't you?
Come on, are you really gonna take her side, Grandpa? I bet it's because you don't think I'm your real granddaughter. I'm just your step-granddaughter. You never really loved me, did you?
You're a grown woman, Natalie. Stop acting like a child. You can't just blame all your problems on other people. Think about it. Can you honestly say that you have no responsibility for what's happening to you?
Of course I can. I didn't do anything wrong.
You told her she's not family because there's no blood between you, correct? Well, I suppose I should tell you that there's no blood between me and Renee either.
Wait, what? You mean Renee isn't your daughter?
No, she is every bit my daughter, and I'll not stand for any talk otherwise. Renee is my wife's daughter. We got married when she was only 7 years old. She wasn't particularly comfortable around me at first, and we had some difficulties adjusting to our new life together. But we both made strides towards becoming a family. That's why I don't like to say that I love Renee like my real daughter. Renee is my real daughter, and I love her with all my heart. Just like I loved you with all my heart.
Wow, I had no idea. I mean, Grandma died before my dad and Renee even met, so I guess I wouldn't have had the chance to know. But why didn't you ever tell me?
We didn't feel it was worth discussing. Given the circumstances of her upbringing, I was a bit surprised when she said she wanted to marry a man with a daughter of his own. I had my doubts, but she was firm. She said she wanted to become a family with the man she loved as well as his daughter. She even said she wanted to be as good of a parent to you as I was to her. You have no idea how happy I was to hear that. And for all I knew, things were going great between you. But now I know that this was all an act. You and your father deceived me. You're liars, both of you.
Hey, that's not fair. We didn't lie to you.
When you pretended that you got along great in my presence only to treat Renee like an outsider once you got home? Yes, that is most certainly a lie. And now you've gone so far as to say that she isn't your family. Well, two can play at that game. If she's not your family, then I'm not either. I'm immediately pulling my support from your father's company, and I won't be giving you another dime either.
What? Wait, you're not going to give my dad money for his company anymore? But his company is still in the middle of restructuring. You can't pull your support now.
His company has been restructuring for over 10 years. If it's not restructured yet, it's never going to be.
If my dad's company goes bankrupt, it's your fault.
Don't patronize me, little girl. You really think I don't know what your father has been doing? I've been in the business long enough to know that it should not take 10 years to restructure a company of that size. So I had his company's financing looked into, and I found out where all the money I've been giving him has been going to. Straight into his own wallet.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's no point in denying it anymore, Natalie. I've already known everything. I've already paid your hospital bill for the birth, but if you're going to tell my daughter that she's not your family, then that's the last thing you'll ever get out of me.
Wait, this is way too sudden. If you cut off your support for us right now, we'll be ruined.
That isn't my problem. You've already had plenty of fun with my money yourself, haven't you? Yes, I know about that too.
How?
That story isn't for me to tell. Give your father this message from me. My preliminary investigation is complete, and the full investigation will start soon. I will calculate exactly how much money you took from me, down to the last cent. And you are going to pay it all back.
No, we don't have it anymore.
If you won't pay up, then I'll see you in court.
You're gonna sue us? Grandpa, don't do this.
Grandpa? What are you talking about? There's no blood between us. That makes us not a family, according to you.
This is all your fault, Renee. I hope you're happy with yourself. Grandpa told me that he's not going to give me any more money. And do you know why that is? It's because you just had to go and open your big fat mouth about what I said to you. You ruined my life. Everything was going just fine for all of us up until now. When you say all of us, who are you referring to? Are you including me in that? Obviously not. You're not one of us. Yeah, that's what I thought. The truth is that things were only going well for you at my expense. I had to put up with both you and your father disrespecting me while you reaped the rewards to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars of my father's money. All I ever wanted was for you to respect my feelings toward you, but you couldn't even do that. So after you disrespected me like that, I don't want to hear any complaints from you over the consequences. But you're not my family. Why doesn't anyone else understand that? All you are is some woman who barged into my house when I was a kid. You think you can just force yourself on me, make me recognize you as my mom? You're not my mom. Didn't my dad talk to you about this? How can you still be so wrong about what a family is? I did my very best not to impose myself on you. All I ever wanted was to have a family. The truth is, your dad and I tried to have a child of our own for a while after we were married. Unfortunately, we were never successful. It turns out your dad has some fertility issues. The doctor said that there was treatment available, but it would be costly and time-consuming. We talked it over, and your dad was worried that if I had a baby, it might cause you an undue amount of emotional distress. So we decided to forego getting the treatment and continue our lives with just the three of us. My dad was the one who told, you know. I bet you hated him for that. That's why you told on me to your dad. You're wrong, Natalie. I accepted his decision because I loved him and I loved you. The two of you were all I needed to be happy. And so I gave you every bit of love that I would have given our baby. I don't believe you for 1 second. You're just saying this to make me feel guilty. And I know you were trying to force me into loving you, but it was never going to work. Why do you think that, Natalie? I never thought about forcing you to love me. I merely hoped that if I gave you all my love and affection, that one day you would come to love me back willingly. I just wanted to be your family. I was so happy for you on the day of your wedding. And when your son was born, I was in tears going to the hospital, imagining the feeling of holding my own grandchild in my arms. But you wouldn't even let me do that. You returned all my love, care, and attention with scorn. You treated me horribly, Natalie. My father and I both had to work in order to close the gap between us, but between you, your dad, and I, the only person trying to close that gap was me. I can see that any more of my effort on you would be wasted, so I am throwing in the towel. And one more thing. I told John about what you did. You what? You actually told him? No way. Why would you do that? Don't misunderstand me. It's not that I went out of my way to tattle on you. Then why did you tell him? Your husband isn't an idiot, Natalie. He noticed how no one from my side of the family was visiting you or even sending their congratulations. He thought it was strange, so he came to ask me what was going on. He asked me if this had to do with something that you did, so I told him the truth. Oh my God, this is terrible! But I guess that does explain why John's been in such a sour mood lately. I thought maybe he was just jealous because I was giving the baby all of my attention and not spending any time with him. John also isn't as much of a child as you. He was a bit surprised to hear about the way you were treating me. But somehow he seemed like he really saw this coming all along. Which brings me to something you talked about with my dad the other day. He told you that he knew what you had been doing with the money he was giving you, right? I have no idea what he was talking about. Good grief, Natalie, you really don't know when to give up. There is nothing for you to gain by denying it at this point. But since you and I both know the truth, let's just get on with it. You gambled it all away. You lost every last cent my dad gave you at the casino, the racetrack, online sports betting, you name it. Oh, but once you ran out of his money, you stopped gambling, right? No, then you started dipping into John's savings. Surely, however, losing all of your husband's money taught you a lesson, didn't it? No, after you ran through all his money, then you started taking out loans in both your name and his. How did you find that out? John told me. He said he'd been leaving the family finances to you, but got suspicious when he saw that his savings were diminishing every month. He asked you what was going on, and you blamed it on inflation. So he got a credit report for himself, and that's when he saw that you had taken loans out in his name. That poor man. I wouldn't be surprised if you two were divorced before me and your dad. No, that cannot happen. I just gave birth to our son, and I quit my job right before the birth. He can't divorce me. What am I supposed to do without him? Well, that baby is going to need you to step up, so you had better figure something out. I have no idea what to do, though. That's why I'm asking you. I would suggest you look into getting a very good bankruptcy attorney. You can go in on hiring one with your dad, since he has a lot of debts he can't pay back either. Renee, I am begging you. You've got to help me. You are past the point of no return, Natalie. There's nothing I can do to help you now. Can you at least get Grandpa to forgive the money Dad owes him? Me and my dad will go over to his house to apologize and everything. You really don't get how mad he is, do you? Oh, Natalie, we could have been a family. We still can! No, Natalie, it's over between us. My only wish is that I could get back all the time I wasted on you and your dad. Please, Renee, don't say that. You don't mean it. We had a lot of good times together, didn't we? You said it yourself. You always loved me like your own daughter, right? If you really meant that, then there's still a chance. Please, Renee, please come home. Please forgive me. We can start over again, and this time I promise it'll be different. We'll be a real family. You're about to learn this the hard way, but this world isn't that convenient of a place. Family isn't just something that you can put away until it's convenient. You made your position clear. Your only family is you, your dad, and your baby now. Uh-oh, I just got a text from John. Oh no, he says he wants to divorce me. Oh, this is terrible. Now my poor son is crying. He knows his daddy is abandoning him. Don't you feel sorry for this poor, innocent child? Oh, please. Did you think that act was going to work on me? I've been around long enough to know that desperate people will tell ridiculous Hail Mary lies when they've used up all their other options. I'm surprised, though. You were a much better actress when you were pretending to be nice to me in front of my dad. But I'm not going to be able to pay my bills this month. What do I do, Renee? Tell me. Well, there is one thing you could try. If things get bad enough for you, you could always try to beat my record for the ugliest cry in history. All right, that's that. The divorce was just finalized. Thanks for all your help, Dad.
Don't mention it, sweetheart. You know I'd do anything to protect my daughter's happiness. You've been through so much because of these two. I wish I had known back then what I do now. I should have been more vocal in my opposition to you marrying him.
Dad, you can't blame yourself for not knowing things that not even I knew about. It's entirely my fault for thinking I could build a happy family together with them. I guess I just have a terrible sense of men. But really, the most painful part of it all for me is the fact that I was never able to get Natalie to open up her heart to me. Maybe I'm not meant to be a parent after all.
That's not true at all. You did the absolute best that you could have. I may not have seen how the three of you got along when you were at home, but I watched how you acted around Natalie while you were here. What I saw was a woman who truly, dearly cared about her daughter. I should have told you this before, but you actually reminded me a lot of your mother.
Oh, Dad, you're gonna make me cry. Thank you so much. It means a lot to hear you say that. I meant what I told you before, Dad. I wanted to become a parent just like you, who gives her all for her stepdaughter.
And if your particular stepdaughter in this case weren't an absolute menace, I have no doubt that you have succeeded. It was a bad match, that's all. Your life isn't over yet, you know. I'm sure that one day you'll soon find a man who actually deserves to be married to a fine woman like yourself.
You think so?
I know so.
Well, if you say so, then I guess I can't give up hope just yet. I will have to get a better taste in men, though. Thank you so much, Dad. Not just for what you've done recently, but for everything. Thank you for loving me like I was your own.
Renee, how many times do I have to tell you? You are my own.
After John divorced Natalie, she moved back in with Nate. From the moment she moved back in, however, they started arguing over who was most to blame for their situation. Those fights happened basically every night and went well beyond midnight some days. Without my dad's support, Nate's company went bankrupt. With both of them out of work and up to their eyeballs in debt, they had a very hard time making ends meet. As for me, after my divorce from Nate, I moved back in with my dad. It's been a long time since we've lived together, but it still feels like old times when my mom and I were living with him in this very house. I hadn't worked very much since marrying Nate, but my dad was kind enough to get me a good job at a company run by one of his friends. My very first day on the job, I was approached by one of the men there, and he asked me out to lunch. I haven't been on a date in over 20 years, so I'm kind of freaking out. What should I wear?